Hi, James here. What I wanted to do is to make a little video. Lots of folks ask me about your equity curve and how it should look and what to do after a series of losses. We were talking about it in the webinar the other day, and people were saying, well, you know, if I have some losses or a few losses in a row, should I stop trading or should I carry on? Will I start to overtrade if I try and recover those losses, or should I just carry on trading and try and recover the losses? And my advice to this chat was, when you're ahead, once you start winning trades and you've gone through a good run for the day or the week or the month, then you should stop trading. And once you're behind, if you start losing trades, then you should continue to trade. I'm not going to go into the details of why that is the case and the statistics behind it, but you can go and check that out. There's a video on my blog which you can have a look at. But what I've got here is my actual equity curve during February this year, and that's just last month, and it ends actually yesterday, just on the first trading day of March. And what you see here is the starting balance around the beginning of February, or somewhere around the early part of February, and you can see it around just under $6,000, and you can see there was a steady growth in the account and then a steady decline over here, and it actually dropped between that area and here about 22%. I'll tell you why that's not a shocker in a minute. Then you can see there were a series of big wins. A big win there, little bit of a decline, then another big win, little bit of a decline, and then a nice rally in the equity graph, and now at around 8,100. I want to point out a couple of things. First of all, don't be surprised if your equity curve goes like this, especially if you're trading at high leverage. Now, these losses in the early part of February were due to difficult market conditions and perhaps a little bit of unluckiness, being stopped out to the pip and that sort of thing, and a few news announcements which messed the things up. But this 22% drop or thereabouts is, remember, I'm trading at 10-to-1 leverage, which is a really high leverage, because this is a challenge account for me and I'm trading it at abnormally high leverage. And if I was trading it at 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 leverage, it would only be about 6 or 7% drop, which is quite within reasonable limits. However, I am trading this at high leverage, so this sort of quite dramatic equity curve, if you flattened this out, it would look a lot smoother, accounting for the lower leverage. Right, so what I'm going to do is go through to my charts, and all of these trades, or the vast majority of them, were taken during my live trading webinars. And I'm going to point out the areas where the trades were initiated using the G7 system and how these gains were achieved. So let's go across and have a look at that now. Right, I was listening to a song actually that someone sent me the YouTube link to, and it's something called like the Whipsaw song, and it's Dakota actually singing with a Dixie Black band, and the words go something like this: you get a whip, I get a saw, but one good trend pays for it all. And that's very, very true in Forex trading. And you can see I've taken the indicators and the logic of the G7 system off here because a lot of you won't know it and understand it. But that was the entry for one of those big wins, and you can see that this trade moved all the way up 34.60 to about 36.60, call it 3600. I'm not sure exactly where I got out of the trade. And that was a big run that picked up some of the earlier losses. And then if we move across and get to this area here, I'm just trying to make sure that it gets into the screen window. There was another perfect G7 entry over here, and that move went all the way down from 36.20 to about 34.80, another 140 pips or so. And then the next trade, and remember, most of these were taken live in front of the webinar class in my live trading webinars. There was another trade which, although it was quite messy, went all the way up from around 35 to about 36.50, and there was another trade, and this is just one that was taken yesterday, just yesterday, and there was another G7, a perfect G7 entry signal there, which went from 135, and I think we took 90 pips on this one after I think we just had a small loss earlier in the day, and this one went up 90 pips. So when you do get whipsawed in the market, as the song goes, you get a whip, I get a saw, one good trend pays for them all. And When your equity curve starts moving around a little bit and you start getting a little bit beaten up by the market, like we were on occasions here. Remember, this is more dramatic than it looks. No, it looks more dramatic than it is because of the high leverage. But once you start having a series of losing trades, don't stop trading and don't give up. You've got to continue to rely on the system and allow your losses to be recovered. When you have a good win or a good week, a good month, whatever it might be, then stop trading. Because of the very nature of randomness in the market, you're going to find that after a series of winners, you're going to take some losses, and after a series of losses, you're going to get some winners. And this is what your equity curve will look like, more or less, perhaps apart from some of these steep drops, because you might be trading at lower leverage. And I just wanted to send this out and encourage you, and just show you that the G7 system, which I'll be releasing a little later in this month to the public in a video course format, picks up all of these trades very, very easily. And the beauty of it is you don't need to trade every day of the week, and you don't need to trade every hour of the day. In fact, it just takes about 5 minutes every hour to trade the G7 system, and these are the sort of trades you pick up. Well, I hope you found that useful. Remember, if your equity curve goes up and down, that's quite normal, especially if you're trading at high leverage. But you see these big moves here. There's a big equity gain, there's a big equity gain, and here's a big equity gain. You get a whip, I get a saw. One good trend pays for them all, and the G7 system picks most of it up. Hope you found that encouraging, and I look forward to telling you a little bit more about
do we
the
do
G7
when we catch
system.
a trend? We ride that trend right to the end. Honey trader, baby mine. So you get a whip and I get us all a honey. You get a whip and I get us all, baby. You get a whip and I get us all. One good trend pays for them all. Honey trader, baby